Thank you for listening to my podcast. I am Hollis. This is I Do What I Want, and yeah, I'm gonna be talking to you today. I feel fine, but my throat is giving me some allergy sounds. I noticed that when I was testing, so apparently my voice sounds a little bit scruffy, but I just have some allergies, so that's totally fine because that's what happens sometimes to human beings. So, as I take a sip of well, this is tea, but today we're going to be talking about how I feel most creative and writing in a coffee shop. Um, it's what I do. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you see a lot of my posts. I probably at least once a week will post a picture of a cup of coffee and a good cafe with my rough draft book and whatever I'm currently writing, and that's kind of my MO. And it's certainly a trope among writers. There are a lot of us who like to write at cafes. So I just kind of I felt like talking about that today, and I spoke to my family a lot today because it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Woo! Good job. But I talked to my father, I talked to my aunt, and that kind of thing. Everybody was born and raised in Connecticut. We're Italian. And so I'm going to be saying coffee, and I talked, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of the New England accent. So, those of you who aren't used to hearing that, congratulations. So, before we get digging into the coffee shop thing, I also wanted to give a couple of quick, very exciting announcements. Those of you who follow me on social media know that I was having all sorts of crazy bounce backs with the new cover of To Save a World, or the new page layout anyway. But everything is up on Amazon. It is live. I've updated my website. The links on the website are updated. Everything is ready to go. And for those of you who are watching the video version of this, we have this cover of To Save a World and this cover of The Queen Witch. Both of them are ready to go. So they're up, they're ready, and I am just more excited about that than I can say. I love the covers. As I mentioned many times before on this podcast, I do my own cover designs and page layouts with the exception of Spare the Swallow, which Dio Jensen did, and she's amazing. But I really enjoy doing my own covers. I enjoy it. I do. So that's something that I'm really excited about, and I hope that you all will enjoy them as well. The stories are the same, but the page layouts are prettier, and I am so thrilled to share them with you. And I promise this is it for possibly ever. I'm very happy with these covers. I don't feel the need to change them again. That's it. Tear in the World, the third book in this series, which will also have a corresponding beautiful cover that aligns aesthetically with these new covers, is coming October of this year. I'm about 70% done with the rough draft, or the first draft, and then it's just gonna, honestly, once I get it out of my head, the editing and the revisions don't. The first draft for me is the longest part of the process. So I'm feeling confident that over the summer I will get it all buttoned up and beautiful, and I'll get the page layouts done. I've actually already designed the cover. Cover's done, and that cover reveal will be coming in July. Because why not July? I will pick an exact date, probably around mid-July, probably around the 10th or the 15th. The next podcast date will be July 14th, so maybe I can just do my cover reveal on the same day. Okay, done. July 14th, cover reveal. Boom. Look at me being organized and taking care of business. Yeah, and after I release Tear in the World, I will be, we. This Gemini likes to say we a lot. That's what we do. um, I will be releasing or starting to write the first Histories trilogy for the history of Rashan. For those of you who have read some of the Rashan series, you know that Rashan is the name of the world in which all the characters live, and To Save a World starts because Rashan is in a point of apocalypse because certain events happened. The gods kind of killed each other. Oops. Put the world in peril anyway. I'm not gonna spoil. That's all first chapter stuff for To Save a World. Don't you worry. But what the histories are going to do are they're going to dive in to what happened in Rashan that led up to some of the to the Heavenly Wars, and what the world was like before it was almost destroyed. So I'm very excited about that. I will be bringing in all three of the Histories trilogy, our D&D games that I played with my best friend. So I'm so excited. They will all have romantic elements, so it will be romanticies, and I am just having so much fun already planning and everything else. So it's something that I'm very excited about. As some of you may have realized, the Lost Beacon Chronicles are on pause right now. I will continue writing that series in a little while, but I decided because the demand for the books in the Rashan series is so much higher, and in order to get you all the quality of writing that you deserve and that I frankly want to write, I need to just focus on one series at a time. So I'm going to put it on pause for a couple years. You have Spare the Swallow and Ignited in those, which are very well reviewed so far. Not widely read, but very well reviewed by those who have read them. And I will continue writing those and Lucretia's Journey in the historical fantasy series in honestly a couple of years, because I'm going to get the Terra in the World out to you this year, and then I'm going to get all three of the histories books, all the entire trilogy for the Rashan histories written and published and out there before I switch back over to Lost Beacon Chronicles. So I hope that's all right. And in the meantime, read the Rashan series, and if you haven't caught up with Spare the Swallow, which is Origin Story, or Book 0, as I have started to call it, and Ignited, which is Book 1, then go ahead and pick them up and get started on them. I'll have the next one out for you in a few years. They'll go by quickly. It's fine. But now let's just dive right back into coffee shop writing, cafe writing. I'm going to be a little all over the place. I have been a silly headspace girl for most of this weekend. But I've been getting shit done as well, so go team me. I don't know about all of you, but when like writers very famously want to be caffeinated when we are writing, right? We want to be free of distractions that usually are hitting us and everything else, and just taking us out of that creative mindset. And for me personally, the caffeine is right there, and they're willing to just overserve me, quite frankly. There's no legal limit on coffee, which perhaps there should be, but I'm all right with that particular addiction that I have. And the cafe takes me out of my home space. I do write at home sometimes, not very often, to be honest, because when I'm in my own home, even if I have my own office, I work from home for my other job and everything else, but it's very hard for me to be in that creative headspace when I am at home. I've got I've got a lot of distractions. There are a lot of things kind of going, oh, I should dust. Oh, the cats are meowing for attention. Oh, this, that, thinking I should do this, I should do that. I need to clean out the closet. I need to do 1,000 things. I'm in this house and I'm not truly being productive. And so I need to leave the house. I need to get out. And when I'm in a cafe, it's not just the caffeine. It's a big part of it. I'm a huge, huge fan of the glorious hot beverage. I drink obscene amounts of coffee and tea, and I have no plans on stopping. I know a lot of the people out there who are healthier than I am will tell me, oh gosh, caffeine is not good. I know it's not good for me. I don't care. I'm just going to be fully honest with you. I'm great, fine, happy, very healthy in a lot of other ways, but I'm not dealing with this. So, not taking away that vice. I'm in love with it. Leave me alone. So, I go to the cafe, and it's also an energy of people are working, people are talking. You have this din of background noise already happening. So you get to that part of, I forget what it's called, but that part of your mind that kind of needs a little distraction in order to focus, you have that distraction because the regular sounds and smells are going on and it's nothing you need to be concerned about, but it's enough of an easy ebb and flow of conversation and energy that's background to you that keeps that little distracted brain enough, and then, at least for me, allows me to really focus on what I need to be focusing on, which is writing the story. And I love that. I love that. There are some other perks to it as well, which I'm going to get into in a very short bit. This is going to be a short episode. It's a relaxing coffee talk episode. We're going to have coffee. We'll talk. Don't worry about it. For those of you who know the old Mike Myers sketch on SNL, you hopefully laughed at that joke. If you don't know it, it was really fun. It was coffee talk. And so, first and foremost, I'm going to get into picking the right cafe to write in for you. So if maybe you've never tried it before, maybe you've kind of tried it, but you felt like, oh, it wasn't the right place. And you know what? I agree. Not all cafes are created equal. I personally am extremely fortunate where I happen to live. I am spoiled for choice. I live in I live in the Metro Atlanta area, Duluth Suwanee area, and that is where there's a very high Korean population, and there are so many Korean cafes and restaurants and things like that, which is wonderful. But they love their coffee and they do such an excellent job. And there are so many local, privately, non-chain places that have exquisite high quality coffee and snacks and pastries, whatever. And so I am more spoiled for choice than a lot of people may be. Some people might only have chains available to them, I don't know. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure there's a local coffee shop even in the smallest of towns, but anyway, okay. Sorry, rabbit hole brain, went somewhere. We're just going to ignore that thought. Been rabbit holing a lot. And, but for me personally, I like a local place. I like a place that is not a chain. Not to say that you can't go to Starbucks or, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts, or I'm drawing blanks on chain cafes because other than Starbucks, because honestly, or Caribou Coffee, that's another one. Getting it. But I just, the vibe is very different for me. Number one, I don't like the coffee as much. I don't think it's as good a quality. I have my own opinions on that. And if you're a coffee drinker, who you know, you know all the things that can be said, and I'm not saying that Starbucks is bad coffee. I'm saying it's not to my personal taste, so, don't come for me. It's fine. To each their own. Personally, I don't like the vibe at a Starbucks. I don't. I have written in Starbucks before, and it is a coffee shop vibe, but there's just something, I don't know. I don't get good work out of myself in those places. I love a local place because a local place just has a whole, I don't know, a different energy, a different vibe, a more homey. To me, I feel more welcomed. There's not this corporate status quo that's being maintained in the background, and it's really nice to me. I maybe am a little in my own head about that, but that is something that's important to me. Another thing is, like, there's a place near me serves great coffee. I'm not gonna say the name because I'm gonna say something negative about them. They have a great product. The people there are excellent. They have excellent food too. They have this like delicious sandwich that I love. But I can't sit there for a really long period of time, for hours on end, and get my writing done because number one, they keep the AC too high. I'm cold. I'm cold. And I know it's summertime right now, but the first time I went there, it was early spring, like late February, like late winter, early spring. It was not cold. It was not hot outside. And the AC was still cranked up too high. And their tables and chairs are comfortable to sit and stay for like a short while and chat with your friend. But frankly, I don't think they're comfortable to sit and write at for hours. So while I will go to that shop if I'm hanging out with a friend or if I'm just popping in and I'm like, oh, I want a beverage to go because, again, their product is excellent. I fully support them. But as far as a sit down and write thing where I want to stay for a few hours, I find it to be too cold, which distracts me. And I find it to be just like, a little uncomfortable. I find that the seats, the wood and metal chairs to be just a little too stiff to be in for a long period of time getting writing done. Another cafe about 5 minutes from my house, actually, literally literally a mile down the street or less from the other one I just talked about. Again, really nice product. Really nice product. And they have more comfortable seating, and the temperature's fine. However, the height of their tables is not conducive for writing. The height of their tables is too low. And I know this sounds super nitpicky, but again, when you sit and I went and I wrote there once, and the vibe is cool too, but I was at an angle and my shoulder hurt because I wrote there for a couple hours, and at first I thought it was fine, but and I might be mispronouncing it, the rhomboid muscle that's kind of behind your shoulder blade on your back, that was hurting me. And I do have a sensitive rhomboid. And again, my brother's a physical therapist, and he always corrects my pronunciation on that muscle. So many apologies to those of you who know the correct pronunciation, but those of you who also know the correct pronunciation, you know what I mean. But it was hurting after that, and it was because, and I realized, I said, oh, it's because the height of the chair to table ratio was off, and I was hunching more than I needed to be hunching. So this isn't a good place for me to come and write. This is a great place for me to come and just chill out if I just want to hang out with a friend, but it's not a good place for me to spend a long time writing. And I do notice in those cafes where I personally don't feel comfortable sitting for long periods of time to get work done, neither do other people. Certain cafes, you'll see people there for a long time. And, with the laptops or whatever. but it has to be, it has to be someplace where you are really physically comfortable and physically able, so that you have a comfortable enough seat, not one you're going to go to sleep in, but comfortable enough seat with honestly a correct table height, so that you're not hunching and being weird, things aren't at odd angles. It's really important, and it has to be convenient enough to your home. Again, I'm spoiled. I have so many cafes. My favorite cafe to go to is less than a mile from my house, and I walk there most of the time. If the weather is fine, it doesn't have to be beautiful out, it just needs to be okay. I will walk. And I love it there. I love it. They roast their own beans. It's called Zoom Coffee Roasters for anyone who lives in my area. It's this great local little shop. They roast their own beans. The owner makes everything from scratch daily. It's delicious. You should go try it. Yum, yum, yum. Even the bread, if you order toast, if you get like little toast with like cream cheese and honey on it, or avocado toast, that is freshly homemade baked bread from scratch that she has cut her, that she has baked that morning. I think she's there at 4 a.m. The owner's so sweet. I love her. I love her. We're friends. I'm there all the time, so we are personal friends now. But it's just, even that is homemade, and you can buy the loaves of bread. But anyway, here is my advert for Zoom Coffee Roasters. For those of you in North Metro Atlanta, you should try it. It's amazing, and that's my favorite cafe to write in. It's comfortable. It's temperature-wise perfection. I have an excellent resource of snacks and beverage. And there are always people coming in and out. There's a really nice, easy flow of conversation and people like that. So I always feel stimulated. And, they're closed Sunday and Monday every week. That's their weekend. So on Sunday and Monday, if I'm going to be writing, which Sundays I usually am, I go to another cafe. I choose one of the other ones. I have my backup plans that I go to, and it's great. But you do have to be comfortable. You do have to like it, and that's the most important thing about picking a place that you're going to go. So if you've tried cafe writing before and you were like, the vibe is off, I don't like it, or I'm just not comfy here, that's fine. It might not be writing in a cafe. It might honestly be just that particular cafe. Maybe try someplace else. Cafe writing also might not be your jam. But if you are inclined toward it, I do encourage you to just try a couple of places out. See where your creative juices flow the most. A few other benefits about writing in cafes, which I personally discovered just by doing it, because I do, and it's so much fun. And you make new friends. I have so many friendships that have developed just because I was at this cafe. Like I said, I'm friends with the owner of my favorite cafe. She's amazing. She's a wonderful person. I know her children. They're wonderful. Her kids and her husband are lovely. I enjoy having conversations. We chat outside of cafe time often. She's lovely. And then people at the cafe, I'm pretty extroverted, and I will chat to people. I'm very happy to do so. And also I have one of those energies or faces. If somebody needs help, if they need directions, they will approach me, and I will help them. If I am capable of helping them, I will absolutely help them. So I guess my face tells the truth. But it's really nice. I have made one of my closest friends I just met because I was at Zoom, and I overheard her say that she was Italian, and I was like, what? And she's legit, like, born in Sicily. She's a Sicilian from the, old country, but whereas I am an American born Italian, half Italian. But, we got on so well. We just started chatting, and now every Saturday I see her. And I love it. I love spending time with my friend. And I, when we discovered we live in the same neighborhood, and we walk together and spend time together outside. We've gone to a couple of operas together. So divine. But that is a friendship that developed. My neighbor across the street, who I met at that cafe. Wonderful guy. Irish guy, actually. I know a lot of internationals in my area, which is just divine. Uh, but yeah, wonderful. And we just got to chatting. We had some things in common, and then we got to chatting. And I said, "Oh my God, well, this is where I live." He says that's where I live, and I said, "This street." And he said, I'm saying, and we realized, oh my God, you're across the street from me. Like I can look out, I can go to my front door and open it, and there's your house. Like not just like up the street and across, like across, directly across the street. And that's great. It's so fun. And I would have never, if I didn't spend time in the cafes, I wouldn't have made these wonderful connections. And the other thing that happens is you become a regular. The owners are a little more inclined to you because you're their friend. And even though they might not allow everyone to advertise or leave things at the counter, they're usually very happy to have your bookmarks or a little sign with a QR code, with your QR code on it or something that just says, "Hey, this is me." And it's, yeah, a lot of the cafes that I'm a regular at, after we've developed a rapport, I'll just say, would it be too much trouble if I had, like, on your bulletin board or something like that, just this little postcard sized thing that says I'm an author and has the QR code to my website, and would you mind just having that in your, and they say, "Oh my gosh, yes, we know you." And then you have advertising. And and people might just wander in. They'll see it. They'll scan your QR code. It's amazing. It's better for marketing, and it's better for that nice organic growth. So that's another reason I really enjoy writing at cafes and leaving the house. And another thing I found by leaving, and I'll leave free bookmarks around too. Like if I've printed a bunch of bookmarks for going into convention or something like that, I have leftovers. I bring them to the cafe. I say, "Hey, can I leave these at the register?" And then people can just take one if they want one. It's free. But guess what? Those bookmarks have on them all of my all of my social media information, that QR code again. It's all right there. And I have actually had, on a handful of occasions, more than twice, I would say 3 or 4 times, someone, and my picture is on things usually, not the flyer, not the bookmarks, but I've had people just come up to me while I'm writing at my regular spots, and they will say, "Oh my God, excuse me, are you that author? Are you Hollis? Are you Hollis?" And I say, "Yes, I am." And they say, "I saw your flyer, I scanned your QR code, I bought your book, and I'm reading it now, or I've read it, and I loved it. I have gotten it so gratifying. It's so validating. It's so amazing." But I have had a handful of people, total strangers, just because they got because the stuff that I had there, they bought my book. Number 1, woo. Number 2, they read it. Number 3, they recognized me, and then they came up to me and told me that they loved my book. And then they were so excited. I had one guy come back with his daughter. To Save a World is definitely A-okay for most age groups. It's not classified as young adult. It is classified as fantasy, but it's I've had friends who are like, "Oh yeah, I gave that to my 13-year-old to read." That kind of thing. It's fine. I was certainly reading stuff like that when I was probably 11, quite honestly. I started reading straight up fantasy when I was 11 years old. I skipped YA pretty much entirely. I went straight into adult books from kiddie books. I was like, "See Spot Run, Death Be Not Proud." That was my leap. But there was one guy who, he recognized me at the cafe, at one point, and he said, "Oh my God, about da da da." He said, "I read it, and then I loved it, and I have a young daughter. I think his daughter was around 13 years old." And he was like, "And she's reading the book now. I gave it to her, and she loves it." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And he said, "Well, are you here regularly?" And I said, "Well, I usually, there's kind of a default cafe I go to when Zoom is closed." And I said, "Yeah, I'll be here as well. Like, if you're going to be here next week, I'd love to bring my daughter, and I'd love to bring the book. And would you please sign it?" And I tell you, I had a little fan moment. It was so beautiful. And next Sunday I was there and I was writing, and they came up and he asked that I took a picture with his daughter. I signed the book for them. I had brought some stuff with me, so I gave her some stickers and a couple of free bookmarks and things like that. And it was so amazing. And none of it would have happened if I wasn't writing at the cafe. And I love it. It's like a little circle of life. It's a little reciprocity circle. I'm supporting the local business, I'm supporting that, and then it all just sort of comes back around. I love it. I love it. And it yeah, they come by, they say hello. I really do love writing in a cafe. I don't know if my ramblings have at all encouraged you to write in a cafe yourself. But even if you are not a writer, even if you just need to get some work done, or maybe you like to journal, get your thoughts out, get your feelings out, draw, whatever, I do encourage. Maybe you just want to go read, but there's something about the community of a cafe setting, and that's really special. And it kind of, I feel like it's timeless in a lot of ways. Yes, in our modern day, it's the coffee shop, but it used to be the pub, it used to be the watering hole, it used to be all those things. When you have a place of food and beverage, throughout all of history, people love to gather, and it is just a really lovely thing. And it always sort of comes back around. It's been really wonderful for me. I get my best work out of myself. And I support local businesses because, like I said, I personally prefer to go to the local places, the independently owned, and I think the coffee is better there. I like it better. I love the atmospheres. I'm supporting local business. I am getting work done for myself. I'm making new friends, and I'm being available to anyone who has read my books, who can come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I never expected in 1,000 years. I never expected it. That more than one person would not only recognize me, but then tell me that they love me." I can't even believe it. I am such an unknown author in the scheme of things. Very, very few people know who I am. I'm trying to change that. Exposure, yeah. But just knowing that I've touched the lives of an individual in the smallest of ways is just such a gorgeous feeling. And yeah, so this is my little ode to cafe writing. Plus, you get really cool little moody artsy photos, which I enjoy. I've gotten a fair amount of compliments on my coffee shop photos. So there's also that. But yeah, so I'm gonna do a little round of the plugs. Once again, To Save a World, The Queen Witch, new covers, gorgeous! New covers, new page layouts, the prettiest I've ever done. They are out. They are on Amazon. Please go get them. Go get them. If you find me at a local coffee shop, I will sign them for you. I will take pictures. I will If I have them, I will give you bookmarks. I'm happy to do that. That would be just exciting. And the Tear in the World, the third book in the Rashawn series, that is coming out in October. I have a date in my head. I'm not going to tell you the exact date in case I don't adhere to it, but October, that month, promises. And then the cover reveal for Tear in the World will come, I said July 14th? July 14th, next month. Exactly, pretty much almost exactly 1 month from now. And, if you want to see me in person and you are not in my area cafe places, I am going to be at Conjuration this year in Atlanta, which is, a book, fantasy book, magical con in Duluth, Georgia. Super convenient for me. Woo! But I will be there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be a guest yet. I am applying to do a couple of panels, so we will see. And that is in November in Atlanta. And then I'm also going to be at the Time Travelers Book Fair in Ackworth, Georgia, September 30th? Something like that. I will look up an exact date, and I will give you exact dates and details as we get closer to it. But I have a booth with my co-star from Banshee Energy Show, Alara Dunn, the other fantasy author. She does YA fantasy with magical realism. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Love her books. And she will also be at Conjuration. So she'll be there with me. And if you want to see Alara and I in action, go over to the Banshee Energy Show. We have a channel here on YouTube. You can see all of our nonsense. We have an Instagram. Everything is at Banshee Energy. Check us out. We've got a few episodes up. We talk about time travel. We talk about badass women in mythology. We talk about vampires. I don't know, cats. That's one of my favorite episodes, to be totally honest with you. And most recently, we did an episode that will be posted soon. Next episode that's going to be posted very soon is the book to film. And then we've got another one coming in July, which I think it'll probably be out mid-July. We're recording it earlier. We're kind of in a time machine when we record, like most people who do podcasts. This podcast is entirely live and unedited, as you all know. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. So please buy my books. I appreciate everything, and